Well, pleased to be here and meet all of you. Looks like you got a great Audubon group here with this many people. That's great. I have a long history in conservation, and I started out as a naturalist in 1985 and became the director of Buchanan County Conservation Board, and worked for Buchanan County then for 38 years before I retired last year. And now I'm doing a business where I do photography, I do nature interpretation and writing, and then I also am on the steering committee for Bird Friendly Iowa. So I'm here mainly today to talk about Bird Friendly Iowa. I did hear you talk about the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Is that something you're going for, a tax possible for the county? Is that what that is? Or is that different?
It's a different group.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay. Yeah, I was involved with the I Will group and was on that committee also, if you ever had questions on that. Very good. I'm going to step aside and we'll go through some things. During the program, two things that you just want to make sure that you got is this website up here for Bird Friendly Iowa. So if you decide to move forward and try to get an application in, everything is on that site. Everything is done online for Bird Friendly Iowa off of that website. And then there's my name, and I do have a Substack self-publishing page, and there is a story on that on Bird Friendly Iowa also. And I did put some of my cards on that back table and that Substack address, and my emails on there too. And if you have any questions as you look into Bird Friendly Iowa, feel free to give me a call, drop me an email, whatever you want to do, your best way to do it.
I'm just gonna, it looks like you're stepping up to the microphone. Can everybody hear okay? Sometimes that's an issue. You don't want to find that out halfway through.
I think this mic is on too. Is that better? All right. Yep, that was what I wanted. So a bit about being a bird-friendly community. So these are part of a local international network. Bird Friendly Iowa began about 7 years ago as just an Iowa organization trying to promote communities that are doing great things for birds, even going beyond birds for habitat, reducing environmental threats, and other things. Then about 2 or 3 years ago, we got involved with an international group called Bird City Network, and so now all the communities that are becoming bird friendly have exposure through all the Americas. There's some communities in South America, many states in the United States, and we're all networked together now. So we promote all our bird friendly communities with signage and websites, social media, so you get some good exposure if you make it through that. It's tourism friendly, and we've been working that tourism angle a bit more lately. We did a recent workshop and we had a nice discussion on tourism. Actually on May 14th, we're going to be doing a virtual Zoom meeting for communities to learn more about something called local hoods that the Iowa Tourism is offering. And so becoming a community, it's also showing that you're interested in enhancing the quality of life for people in your community. Of course, birds, we choose birds for many reasons, but one of them is they also have a side benefit of free rodent control, insect reduction. Where you've got birds, you've got quality outdoor recreation. We'll talk a bit later. I can show you some stats on economic activity that's created by birders and birding. Many of you probably know that because you go out and spend money and go places and support local economies. Flood control, other kinds of side benefits from when you're looking at doing good things for birds. There's all kinds of materials that are part of the program too. I'll show you some of that when we go through the website. And you've got a group of professional consultants also that's on the steering committee. And some groups have joined up because then also it's another thing to put into grant requests when you're doing applications for all kinds of projects, if you can say you're a bird-friendly community. When I'm saying community in Iowa, that means either a city or a county. And we have communities that are counties, and within those counties we have communities that are cities. So you can apply for recognition either way or both ways. If you get designated as a community, you get 2 street signs that you can place wherever you want. Some people put them on the highway coming into town. Some have them at their park entrance. And then you also have the ability to use that logo and to order signs, and more kinds of things using that logo. You also get a bird-friendly Iowa flag that you can display at events, or some people display it year-round, but otherwise you get a nice banner or flag for the events that you do. You'll get a recognition certificate. You get access to a website and the tools on the website that are just specific for bird-friendly communities. They're not available to anyone else. And you can use that page to promote your efforts, programs, and events. And then you can link that page to anything else you're doing. Again, it's an international recognition program. And you also get the emblems, the logos, and things that you can use to promote your community however you see fit. We also do press releases and manage a Facebook page. And for example, I was doing a hike this morning or this afternoon before I came here. And if it's a bird-friendly community, I'll sometimes take my photos and put those out there and kind of plug the community. So, and like I said, we got workshops, Zoom events, and other things like that. So that's kind of what you get for being designated. This is a photo of Polk County. Actually, this is the city of Des Moines when they became bird friendly. And you can see that's the flag or the banner. Those are what the road signs look like, and there's a certificate being held there. The official application needs to be done through a resolution. If you're a county, it's through the Board of Supervisors. If you're a city, it's through your city council stating that you're bird-friendly Iowa. And there's just another look at the sign, and there's a sign posted there over by Sweet Marsh. So this is a photo of a group. We had our recent workshop, and then after that we went out and had a field trip day, and people were able to go out and do some bird watching. And we had 34 people show up to that workshop. Currently we have 26 communities that are designated. And you might wonder why birds. Why don't we do frog-friendly Iowa, or deer-friendly Iowa, or whatever. But I think birds are unique in many ways, and they're a really good indicator of a community that's doing good things for wildlife and conservation and natural resources. One thing is that some of these birds, like this orange-crowned warbler, are migratory, so they've got several habitats that have to be maintained, and you have to have stopover migration habitat. You need to have breeding areas and some wintering grounds, and they can be scattered long distances or short distances, but birds are one animal that's on the move and always there. They're also kind of always around. They're kind of the soundtrack to all the wildlife and natural areas. They're here year-round. You can always find birds. The bobolink here is another good example too of a species that does a very long migration. So these neotropical migrants or distant migrants, the bobolink can go 12,500 miles round trip in its migration to South America, and has very vast different needs for habitat. And birds also are, again, very economically important, very socially important. Our most popular game bird, the ringneck pheasant. So that's kind of unique. We talked a bit about pest control, eating of insects. I guess I could do a little quiz on some of these birds. Who wants to yell out what this one is? What's that? Yeah, it's a little tricky one because it's a first year, so it doesn't have that striking black and yellow. But you can see it's feeding on grasshoppers. It's perched on a compass plant in a prairie in one of our natural areas, kind of tying together why all these things are important and why birds are really a great way to get into what a community is doing for natural resources. And of course that is a wood duck. So I just took that photo up in Winneshiek County at Cardinal Marsh. And when we talk about threats to birds and what people can do to birds, another really nice thing about working on a bird-friendly Iowa community is there's so much that community members can do. They can build nest boxes and platforms. They can survey bird species. They can do bird counts. There's so many ways that people can get involved, and I think even more so than any other group of animals that I can think of. And of course that is yeah. And so, you think about some of the success stories around birds and what people have done to bring them back. And of course, sandhill cranes were extirpated from Iowa. And today they're made a really remarkable comeback. And if we take care of our habitats and we take care of those threats that are out there, they do come back. So you can find success stories in these local communities and statewide and nationally when people work hard and do the things that they need to do. Any questions on just those general things before we go through the website in more detail? All right. So I'm just kind of give you a little tour of the website and what's on there. I can't see my mouse. There it is. So this is what the Bird Friendly Iowa website looks like, and you can. Okay, that wasn't hard. Okay, so when you get on to Bird Friendly Iowa, you will see, hopefully, all the communities. So if you zoom in, how do you zoom in with this guy?
Well, there's up top, there's a plus and minus.
Oh, see my Mac. It's so you kind of see there's 26 now. We just added some this morning, so I don't know if they're all on there. But you can look at them all on the map, and then you can also click to the side and view a list of all the communities. And then you can go on and you can see what they're doing. And this is what you can do right now. So if after this meeting you want to just cruise the website and see what the different communities have up there.
What's a high flyer versus a stage flight?
Yeah, and I'll kind of get to that. There's certain criteria that you have to meet to become bird friendly, and then high flyer is another category that you can work toward. So here's Fayette counties. They got a little description of what they're all about, a little picture and things to do. They will talk about the achievements, and that's not coming up. That's a bad one to choose because they just got approved. They might not have put their stuff on there yet. I thought I went to Marquette. This is crazy. So when you get certified, then you can go ahead and you can designate, and you can get on this website. You can put really whatever you want on there. Sioux City's got their printable checklist right at the top and their logo, and you can see what they have to introduce their community. You can really put as much you want on there. And you can link all these pages to your other pages so that people can get to and from these from you, and then also have your information on these pages so they can get to your websites and your events. The resources, there's all kinds of things you can look at, download off of this site. Nest box plans, bird-friendly plans. There's a virtual landscaping guide, which is kind of cool. So all kinds of resources at your disposal. And this is where you would go to apply. The first step in application would be to go up to this button up here to contact us, and then you need to just send an email. When you click this, you'll get an email field. Be sure to say that you're either the City of Dubuque or Dubuque County, however you're going to do it. Actually, are you with Dubuque County? Looks like you were in a uniform. Is anybody here from Dubuque County Conservation?
Well, I
Oh,
work for part-time.
okay. Yeah, I saw that they've already got an account on here. That's why I was wondering. So somebody got on already and got that done for the county. So yeah, you go up there, click that, and you go ahead and send an email off, and then we'll give you the credentials to go on and start working on your application. So there's a whole list of actions. We'll go right to there. So under habitat, you're going to have 16, I believe, different types of actions that would help with bird habitat, promoting best management of community habitat, and you can kind of see there's a bunch of them indicate how community public land management or area provides native habitat for birds, plants, and other wildlife. You would have to meet 4 of those. Okay, so you don't have to meet them all, and then you would need to not just say check and restate the question saying yes, we do that. You have to be able to demonstrate that you're doing it. So if you say that you've got management plans, you'll want to say, the area you've got a management plan for, that it does incorporate bird habitat. Sometimes people have attached a portion of the plan or an aerial photo of the area showing that they got a plan for that area, and then you kind of meet the criteria. And then you'll see some of them say high flyer. So you don't have to meet any of the high flyers to be designated a bird-friendly community. But if you are meeting those, you need to meet 5 high flyer categories to become a high flyer. And those are spread throughout the 3 different areas of habitat, then there's threats to birds. Threats to birds, I believe there are 2, 5, 6, like 12 of them, and you have to be able to meet 1, I think, is all on threats to birds. Some of these are high flyers, so. And then education engagement, you have to meet 4 of those. And you can look through those at your leisure. Photographs work really well, data works well, so if you can say that you're doing X number of programs, or you're meeting, or if you've got a bird checklist that you've done, those are helpful. If you did a project where you built something, if you got a photograph of it, and you would submit that then. And then the sustainability category was just added when we joined Bird City Network. And for that, you don't have to do any of them to become designated. But if you want that high flyer status, then you could use that sustainability one to do that. So there's a couple of mandatory things in there too. One is you have to have that official resolution from your board or your city council. Another one is, I think, a proclamation. But most of them you can pick and choose which criteria you think you meet. Any questions on that? That's probably one of the bigger things. You can, yep,
Question.
yes.
You said you were using Des Moines as an example, that Des Moines City
Mhm.
is, the city is, and then Polk County is also. How do places decide if they're gonna do it at the county level, city level? Do they do both, like Des Moines did?
Yeah, I don't think that most of them have really planned it. The city of Des Moines wanted to be bird friendly, so they did an application. And then Polk County decided they wanted to do it too. And Bremer County is a small county, and they've got the county, and they've got 2 or 3 communities in Bremer County that are bird friendly. So they want to showcase their towns, and they also wanted to showcase the county as a whole.
I just wanted to make a mention on this page that, having looked through that, and a couple of members of our conservation committee for the Dubuque Audubon Society also have done so, and we probably are already meeting all of the requirements that we need, so just have to formalize it. So it would probably be very easy for us to become an official bird-friendly Iowa community, both at the city and the county level. And we're really happy to help any of the entities that are interested in gathering that data so we're not expecting the city council to necessarily know all of those answers, for example.
Yeah, and for example, that's another analogy for that one is the city of Waterloo, the Prairie Rapids Audubon Society there led that effort. So it doesn't have to be led by the actual governmental body. You can have and we really recommend you get a nice group together. That should be one of the first things you do is decide who your partners in your community, bring them together, and work your way through some of these. So yeah, well, that's great. And when I heard about Dubuque, to me it's a no-brainer. I've spent time recreating in Dubuque and in the county as a whole. And the last part of my program I was going to do was from all my paddling adventures in Dubuque County and all the bird watching I've been able to do while doing that. So I just thought Dubuque's, that's a no-brainer, like you said. There's so many things going on right now that you could probably do it. The key is to be able to describe it and communicate it, because I think you are probably doing them all. You can download the whole action list then, and shouldn't it take too long? Nope, came right up. In this kind of format too, if you want to print it out and share it with your partners or email it out. Okay, that's getting better. You can see on the website then we've got different news releases that we'll put out for the communities. And if you're a community and you've got something happening and you want a news release put on this website, we can get that put on for you. There's also a Bird Friendly Iowa Facebook page that we promote. I think I mentioned that earlier. I should go back to one of the counties. Events can get posted on there. This is all in the front part. We get back to communities. So like Sioux City has got their events that are coming up or about to be passed. They got 2 of them right there. There's also a tourism page that a lot of counties are still kind of working out. But this is where, for example, if you want to mention some hotels or bed and breakfasts where people, if they're coming from out of town, might want to stay if they're going to spend the weekend birding in Dubuque County, you could put that on there. Or if you've got a bird feed store, or if you do bird programs that you're gonna, or events coming up, or even your main birding parks, your best places where you would send people to go that could all be put on your tourism pages. And we're just starting to really get into that now. Like I say, on May 14th, there's going to be a Zoom webinar just on the tourism aspects. They got quite a bit going on, though, for Sioux City.
Is it usually city employees then who are doing that work of putting this stuff on the website?
I don't know. This doesn't have to be for sure. It could be anybody. It could be, the Audubon chapter or whomever. The city just needs to be the one that is officially applying and is going to be. There is a $100 fee too. Don't want to forget that. And in some communities, the local nonprofit will just cover that fee, just because it's easier than trying to do a claim through the county or through the city. Other times the city and the county just does a claim, but it's a $100 membership fee annually, and that helps to run the whole program, provide the education, do that first year you get like $200+ in signs and flags right away for your $100. So that's that. And then once you go in, you can really start to work on it. I gotta type it all, 'cause it's the.
What word is that? Cerulean.
That's a blue-gray gnatcatcher.
Oh.
They were down there today, a couple hours ago too.
Your email address is missecured
Oh,
at Gmail.
why do they make black keys on a black keyboard?
The house that we're all watching too.
What percent of applications get accepted?
Pardon me?
What percent of applications get accepted?
If they follow through, they can pretty much all get accepted. They don't always get accepted on the first go-around. The steering committee will look at it. We don't just call somebody up and say, you stink, you're not going to be designated. We generally let them know what they're lacking and what they would need to get designated, and then we'll work with them on it. The steering committee is made up of some pretty high-powered birding type people, and we've got some of you might know Bruce Earsman and Doug Haar, very good birders. The avian ecologist Anna Burkhardt's on the committee. Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation's got a couple of representatives. We got Iowa County Conservation System on there. So there's a lot of people that can help if you are not quite meeting it to start with. What am I doing here? Okay. Okay. So this is not something that you can do, but I can go in and impersonate somebody. So since we were doing Sue, I don't know if it really matters, but. I can impersonate Carrie. So this is where you would go in, and you got all the tools then. I just wanted to show you quick. But you can edit, you can put photos on, you can do all this stuff once you get designated. You can, go ahead and enter all your events, put everything in. It's pretty user friendly. And then when each year, then you just need to reapply, or renew, I should say. If you're still doing everything the same, you just basically say you're doing everything the same, and then that's pretty much all there is to it. like I say, there is that membership fee. But if you're doing things extra, you can put that down. And then there is a place where you can give us the numbers. I don't know if it's on here. I don't know how to get to it, but you can put in the numbers of how many people you address, how many, if you bought additional acres of land, you created new habitat, you can do that. And then we try to put a news release together for you and advertise it for you with some photos. So if you do have something you want to brag about, that's a good time to get another recognition for your community. Okay. Oh, they're just starting the recording now. Okay. Any questions now that you have pretty much all the information? That's pretty much what's involved.
How old of an organization is it?
It started about 7 years ago when we started putting together Bird Friendly Iowa. And like I said, about 2 or 3, maybe 2 years ago, we got on the Bird City Network. I guess I could show you that quick. That's kind of cool.
Dan, did you talk about what you have to do each year to remain?
Yeah, you just click on that Apply Renew, and then you would look through it and basically say, yep, we're still doing all those same things that are checked. And then you say Submit, and that's all you have to do to renew. We just want to make sure that all our communities are staying current, that they didn't fall off and aren't doing things they were doing. And then if you're doing things extra that you could try to get high flyer status, or if you're doing things extra, we want to be able to promote that for you. So these are the states throughout the country then that have bird-friendly states. So you can see, how do you, okay. So, Illinois' got one, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, a lot of the Midwest states, Pennsylvania, Colorado. And then if you clicked on any of these states, you can see the different communities that they have that are bird friendly. Looks like they're all. So that's what Illinois has for bird-friendly communities now.
Did I just see Galena on there?
Yeah, Galena, yeah. You'd be interested in that, wouldn't you? You have reports on there too. So, any other questions about Bird Friendly Iowa? Yeah.
You mentioned some trainings, but are they having like birding seminars or anything for the communities, or is this what the communities do, they put on the website?
Bingo. Yeah, the communities take it from there. So this is all about local. And if you go to my Substack page, I just did an article that's titled Local Communities Are for the Birds. And it's really about conservation close to home. That some of the best work that's done by conservation champions, you don't hear about it or see it very often because it's happening at the local level. And this program, Bird Friendly Iowa, is designed to try to get the reach of what people are doing in their home communities out to the public so that people will come and visit you and see the work you've done, that people in your communities will go, hey, we're doing some really good things here, and not keep some of these things just best kept secrets, but really promote them. But yeah, it's really on the communities. So communities generally get out what they put in. So if you get designated and you never go on that website, or nobody on your group does, and you don't promote your events, and you don't put out photos, and you don't do things, you're probably going to say, well, I'm not getting a whole lot out of this. But if you do, those communities that are really rocking and rolling. And you know, Dubuque's got so much as far as the attractions that come with the people that come into your community to birdwatch, that maybe on your committee you want somebody from the chamber or somebody from local tourism, or even some people that have businesses that you think will especially benefit from this. I think Marquette's got a riverboat cruise business that does birding events and birding tours, and that's on their tourism site. I could switch back, but how much time we got? You want to end at 8? Is that right?
Go over a little, that's all right. We switch back.
Just take the keyboard away and press that HDMI button, it should work.
Seems to be back, huh?
Am I on there? I am. Look at that. Boy, that was slick. That was magical. So, see if that works. This might not work either. Well, that did work now. Okay. Just wanted to show you, this is that article I did most recently. That's some pretty impressive numbers that you can share. So there's, 96 million Americans who consider themselves bird watchers. Spent an estimated $14 billion on trips and $93 billion on equipment. And if you look at economic activity from birding, it's about $280 billion. So you can, and those figures are how they come up with $280 billion. But it's a big thing. I don't know, I mean, I went this last year, I went to the Gulf of Mexico, whatever you want to call it, the Gulf. And I did a trip around Corpus Christi up through Anahuac and those areas. And then I was there for the Big 12 championship football game, but then in Dallas, and then I just went down there. And then I did another trip to Sarasota, Florida, and spent in each case a week, birding, staying in hotels and doing whatever, And we go to the Sandhill Cranes every year. We go to places in Iowa constantly. So yeah. And this doesn't even look at hunting, and without hunting, we wouldn't. I mean, right now the DNR hardly has any funds to do a whole lot, but hunters' dollars really account for a lot of it. And pheasants and turkeys and are important to our state in that regard too. The other thing I was going to do, and we can I was just going to quick show you some of the places I've been paddling, but tell me if we're out of time. So this is some of my consultant work I've done is doing reconnaissance work for the DNR. So I've gone out and paddled rivers and done reports and photography and GPS locations and checkout accesses. And so this is all in Dubuque County. Can't see the yellow too well, but the Mississippi River around Dubuque and down to Massey Marina and Lytle Creek. I don't know if you guys know about Lytle Creek. It's a beautiful little stretch of river near the Jackson County line. And then the Maquoketa, which actually go into Jackson County. But I paddled all of those and really fell in love with some of these rivers. The North Maquoketa is just amazing. I don't know how many of you have spent much time on the North Maquoketa, but there's very few places in Iowa where you can find wilderness. But there's kind of a section there that's from, where Rockport, right, the name of the town, down to Cascade. I mean, it's just incredible. And all kinds of wildlife everywhere. And get rid of this. I don't know why that always comes up. But you can kind of see you got riffles. I started the North Fork Maquoketa actually in New Vienna, and it's you can step over the creek. So did a lot of walking. Pretty much walked New Vienna down to Dyersville, and then started down there. A lot of beaver dams, pinch points, where you have to kind of navigate through a narrow corridor. But really beautiful. You paddled right through Dyersville. This Japanese knotweed and Japanese hops, you guys have the market on it. I mean, we don't have any Japanese hops in Buchanan County, but they just are really invasive along your rivers here in Dubuque County. Are you guys familiar with the plant? It's kind of got backward hairs on it, and if you walk on it with shorts on, or it'll just tear you up. But yeah, it can just take over these banks. This is that 11-mile stretch that is really without any roads, bridges, or anything. It's really nice. Just a few photos from. See if you can name them before they come up. Probably more deer per mile in Dubuque County. Yeah, that's like a growth that one deer had on it. Any of you ever do the Little Maquoketa? Oh yeah? Oh yeah. It's really a tale of two rivers, isn't it? It's like up to Durango, it's a shallow creek with a lot to navigate through and really rocky, and then Durango down, it changes and becomes more opened up, where the middle Maquoketa comes into it. Just a, I thought eastern Iowa, the rivers I was paddling, were, you come across the electric wire across the river, and I thought, there's some of that. Then I did the Little Sioux River in western Iowa the last 2 years. You cross under a wire in Dubuque County, you might have 100 yards, and then you go into the next wire and you're out. In the Little Sioux in western Iowa, you might go 1.5 miles with the cattle, and you might have, in Dubuque County, you might have 4 or 5, maybe 8 head or something in the river, and out there you can have 80, 100 head. But that trail that you've got in Dubuque County follows the Little Maquoketa a lot of the way too. This is where the middle Maquoketa comes into the Little Maquoketa at Durango. And then it opens up a bit more than it was up to that point. You still get these riffles and then pools and riffles and pools and riffles and pools. Do you fish it a lot? Yeah, the little Makokata? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Fishing.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be great for that.
Smallmouth.
Mhm. I'm just zipping through it because of time, but there's that Japanese hops again and some garlic mustard. So that's what I mean when I say I think Dubuque County is definitely a no-brainer for being able to demonstrate the wildlife and the habitat and what you're doing for the threats. The threats is probably the category that most communities have trouble with. I think I'll just end it there because it is after 8 o'clock. Any last questions? Like I said, I've got some business cards back on that table. The Substack page is on the back of it. My email address and phone number is on the front of it. And if you decide to start working on it and you got any questions, feel free to give me a call, contact me.
Thank you.
Good.